until we get it. Come on down if you wet it. Wake up, let's go, we're on a mission. Recognize we've got that power. And we make sure that you know it. Got that pride, go ahead and show it. Stand up, fight back, no time for hoping. Recognize we got that power. Stop until we get it. Come on down if you wet it. Wake up, let's go, we're on a mission. Recognize we got that power. And we make sure that you know it. Got that pride, go ahead and show it. Stand up, fight back, no time for hoping. Recognize we got that power.
Good morning, good morning. You are now tuned in to the Eat Life Power Lunch Show with Dr. Baruch and Chris Murray. How are ya?
I'm doing great, Chris. How about yourself?
I am doing wonderful. Glad to be here again.
Yeah, it's it's not as frequent as we used to be, but it's more substantive. Well, not that anything we do isn't substantive, but more substantive. How about that?
Exactly.
So, you enjoying this crazy weather from one day? It's like in the middle of the day. You can go from spring to like borderline winter.
Yes.
And then later on, Lord have mercy.
I think they're calling it Mayvember.
Mayvember.
Yeah, I think that's what it's called.
That'll work. That'll work.
Yes, absolutely. So let's jump into our hot topic. I have to bring this up. Bill Cosby gave his first interview in over 2 years. And for me, it's important because, I don't know, for my generation anyway, he's such a legend. And, I'm sure from before then. And it's just, the story is incredible in how his whole legacy pretty much has been destroyed by these trials that have come up. And, not to take away from the accusations or anything that may have happened to these women, but it's just a huge thing. I mean, you see other celebrities and people kind of go through things that are similar, and it's like nothing ever happens. They go on with their life, athletes, other entertainers. And so today in his Sirius XM interview, he's basically saying that he's not going to take the stand.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, I grew up with Bill in a different way. Bill, before he did the Cosby Show,
mm-hmm.
and he was a comedian, and, he's relatively funny. He was like the face of him and Dick Gregory, and I think there was another out there. It was like the face of satire with regard to what's going on in our community, and
right.
what other people may not be able to relate to the way we relate to what's going on. In other words, there's an experience that black people go through that white people will look at and see one way, and black people will look at it and be like, oh no, that ain't what I was experiencing.
Right.
And it's funny because you would think that in the news right now we would maybe want to give more attention to our vagina groping president.
Mm-hmm.
That
right.
maybe that is probably more substantive and more significant than Bill Cosby at 79, who's probably not going to record another show, another comedy act. They probably destroyed, like it said in the article. His career is probably done.
Yeah.
They did what they needed to do with Bill. Now maybe Bill still has some money in his account, and that might be the issue. And so the system is looking to try to figure out, or those that are in the system who are the vultures, the corporate and otherwise financial vultures, are looking to get those resources and his power. Because if Bill called me up, I would sure enough tell him, look, man, our people are dying like flies, and we need to put some money into, not the healthcare system, but the self-care system. And we're going to do that with some healthy food and some education.
That's
what
right.
you think?
Oh, yeah.
And so they're trying to prevent me from getting the bill. That's how I see it. Narcissistic if you think, but otherwise I'm really about the people.
Right.
What do you think, Chris? What's up?
Yeah, I mean, I think you're right on point, and it's just unfortunate, but like you were saying, sometimes when you get too close to the truth, or you're motivating your people too much, they come after you, and it seems like a case. What has happened, not to speak conspiracy, but it's all kind of lines up in that way.
Yeah,
so.
And you just don't know. I mean, and being in that world, that Hollywood world, I spent like a minute in that Hollywood space, and all kinds of stuff goes on that shouldn't go on in the other world, but because you're there, it's kind of like, oh, come on, loosen up, Doc. Why are you, Doc is what do you call it, a party killer or mood killer or whatever. And I said, oh, okay, yeah. So I either I'm going to have to join you all,
right,
or I'm going to have to go to the other room.
Right.
So, it's just the way certain things are done at that level where they feel like, it's just a party.
Right.
Everything's just a party, no responsibility, no concern. What goes on in Vegas stays in Vegas. Shut up already.
Right.
So yeah, kind of interesting. But if let me say this much, if it's true that he did what he did, and these people were not consensual partners, then yeah, okay, you're a really bad guy, Bill, and something needs to be done. But if it's not, if it's just like, it's this relationship with Hugh Hefner or whoever else he's got out there, and that's just how they roll, then when you walk through the door, you go into a Hugh Hefner party, and you going in there expecting, people to be polite and courteous and respectful, and not be sexist. Here it is, you dressed like a whatever, and you show up at the party, and you got Bill and Hugh there. It's like, oh, it's going to be crazy tonight.
Right.
Okay, so, again, what's the expectation?
Right.
What to do?
Yeah. That's a huge statement, though. That will start a whole nother conversation.
Yeah.
But we do have a special guest in the building today, and I want to bring you in on the conversation. Mr. Darrick Johnson is here.
Right.
How are you?
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Not just Darrick Johnson, but Darrick Johnson, the brother who, and I probably will do it wrong. I probably should let him introduce himself because he's going to include all the pieces that I'll leave out that he'll have to come behind me and correct. So now, introducing Darrick Johnson, his brother, Darrick Johnson.
It was also known as Brother Malcolm.
Brother Malcolm.
And my group is called By Any Means Entertainment, which means we use the creative arts as a means to educate and entertain in trying to creatively make a difference.
Yep, that's what's up. That's what's up, Brother Darrick.
Oh, yeah.
So what got you into this space? I mean, you as an entertainer or educator, so edutainment, right?
Right.
I think you said. Okay.
Okay.
So how did you get into that space? Did you grow up in this area? Give us a backstory.
Yes, I grew up in the D.C. Metropolitan area. I started as a prize fighter. I boxed for most of my life, but my mother used to always tell me as a young man, God didn't bless you to get knocked upside the head in a ring. You have a tremendous creative talent. I was the one that when birthdays came, they was looking for me to write a card for Mother's Day. I always wrote creative things, and I would sit in my room a lot of times and just kind of use my imagination. So when my boxing career finally ended in 1995, and that was after my little girl told me, Daddy, I don't want to see you get hit anymore. And I began to dwell into my creative spirit. And I began to write really about pain. And Malcolm X was someone who our group was drawn to probably around 1980 or so. I was in the ninth grade. I was in the 10th grade. And I was skipping class one day, hanging out in the school library, and the teacher asked me, Darrick, what are you doing? Why are you not in class? I'm looking for a book, for a report. And I randomly grabbed the book, and just so happened to be the autobiography of Malcolm X. And pretty soon I was no longer faking. I was really, truly engaged in this book. And I'm not proud of saying this, but that book was never to be found in my public library again because I took it home. And it was the first book I actually read. And and my mom was so moved by it, she kept the book and she presented it to me some years, maybe 20 years ago. And she said, it was the first time I really saw you apply yourself. And it really moved me in a certain direction. And I'm not saying my life changed then and there, but I began to recognize that seed was planted to the importance of education, because I never took education that seriously back then, even though my mother would tell me certain things. As a black man, you need to excel even further than your white peers because you're not get the same opportunities. So son, you need to get your education. And after that episode of reading the autobiography and reading it over again and again and again, something began to resonate in me. And I went into the military in 1984, and I began to meet brothers from all over who were deeply into our consciousness, black consciousness, so to say. And I began to read more and more and began more engaged with Malcolm. So when I came back from overseas and got out of the military in 1989, people began to say, man, you look like Malcolm. But one thing that I always felt that spirit within me. It was something within me that felt that spirit. And the creative arts, I started out doing poetry. And I would kind of quote Malcolm phrases and speeches in my poetry and talk about things about black consciousness. And then people just started calling me Brother Malcolm. And I knew a lot of people in the arts, and I got an audition for a play called The Meeting, which is about what would happen had Malcolm and Martin joined forces. I auditioned, got the part, and the person said to me, he said, are you in costume? Or I said, no, this is the way I look. And as I said earlier, I like to see myself more shine the spirit of Malcolm as opposed to more so people see the looks, but not bragging, but I feel good about the spirit of Malcolm, who I feel I resonate pretty well with all the things that I try to do, because I use my arts. I have a men's group, a men's empowerment group, a spirit-based men's empowerment group, and I've always tried to use the arts as a means to make a difference. And like I said, I really started probably around 2002 or 3 when I started doing poetry. I got to do Malcolm in a play called The Meeting, probably 2005. And the way I got to doing this one-man show, the motivation behind the one-man show I'm doing right now, when I'll be doing this coming weekend here at Everlasting Life, was I was at a performance, and the guy who played Dr. King, off stage, we didn't get along as well, and we had a little scuffle before a show, and he thought he was going to pay me back, and didn't show up at the performance. And I got on stage and did Dr. King and Malcolm by myself, and people loved it. And something resonated within me. I said, you know what? I'm going to do a one-man show. And I wrote a small little skit. And then fast forward to 2013, I got a phone call of some stuff that people had saw on Facebook. I mean, not Facebook, but on YouTube. And this festival is called the Chautauqua Festival. And I had never heard of it at the time. And what they do, they specialize in bringing history out of books. And they'll bring together all these historical figures to kind of tell your story. And I went down there, and it was Malcolm X, Susan B. Anthony, Harold Medville, and another character. And I had to kind of connect how Malcolm connected to these other characters. And it was easy connecting Malcolm to Susan B. Anthony, who stood up for women's rights, and as well as Malcolm stood up for black rights. And the first thing I noticed, it was mostly white audiences down there. And I was blown away by the many people who was like, wow, I didn't know this, I didn't know that. And there's nothing more gratifying for an artist that when people feel as if they really were captivated and learned things they didn't know about a particular character, and especially Malcolm, because Malcolm is one who's been demonized as an advocate of violence, hate, and so on and so forth. We've all heard of all those things before. And so it was a gratifying experience, and that was 2013. I sold out 8 shows down in Greenville, South Carolina, and North Carolina, and before mostly white audiences. And there's a friend of mine who was a friend of Malcolm's who's still living, by the name of Mr. Peter Bailey, A. Peter Bailey. And he was the first person I called, because I met Peter prior to this, a long time prior to this. And I met him at an event down in the convention center a long time ago. And when I recognized him right away, I said, "Sir, you're Mr. Peter Bailey, right?" And he said, "Yes, I am." I said, "I'm a student of Malcolm." He said, "Wow, my gosh, you look like him." And so I began to, kind of converse with him a lot about Malcolm, and I learned a lot of things from him. But going back to 2013, when I did this one-man show, I said, "Pete, you wouldn't believe what's happening down here, man." Because I had met people that, the people who ran the program told me that one individual in particular, he was like a hardcore rebel flag wearing, waving redneck. And after my first night when I performed, this guy comes up to me and he hugs me, and I said, "Wow, that's him." And this guy came to like 4 or 5 of my shows, and there was so many experiences like that. And it was a wonderful experience to see really shining Malcolm in a different light. I tell his story, my play really tells the story based on the autobiography. And I use it as a means to engage people to want to learn more about Malcolm. He is someone I said one time before, no one can tell Malcolm's story like he could, but unfortunately Malcolm's not here anymore. And so I feel good about the way I tell his story. I've met the daughter, because I performed at the Audubon Ballroom twice, the place where he was assassinated at. And they pretty much gave me a thumbs up and said, this is really good what you're doing, and we appreciate it, because really what you're doing is keeping the legacy of their father alive. And I feel very honored and proud to be able to do that. I've also written 3 other plays, but most people just look at me and think I just do Malcolm X.
Okay.
That's what's up. That's what's up. That's a really inspiring story. And then to hear that you're being received as you have, down south even.
Yeah, exactly.
And it probably speaks to the fact that the people down south still can relate to what it is that Malcolm was talking about back then, what you're bringing to life in the play. That's good stuff. You say you're going to be here at Everlasting Life
Yes,
this
sir.
coming
Yes, sir.
Saturday.
This coming Saturday. Yes,
And that's
sir.
9185 Central Avenue in Capitol Heights, Maryland, right here off of the Beltway, exit 15B in the Hampton Mall Shopping Center at Everlasting Life. Our brother Darrick Johnson is going to be performing, and the name of the play is, this is a one-man play, right?
Malcolm X, an American legend.
Malcolm X, an American legend. That's what's up.
And also, you'll be treated with not only the show, but also there'll be African drumming, song, poetry, followed by the show and a Q&A after the performance.
Okay. Great. So it's all started out in the boxing ring, huh?
Yes, sir.
Say, you know what? I need to stop getting hit upside the head. It's a tough way to make money.
No, it is. You know, but I see the similarities. The only thing in acting, you don't risk the chance of getting hurt.
Right.
You know, but it's the same thing. It's your center stage. You know, especially in a one-man show.
Right. We gotta go ahead, Chris. I'm gonna see who this is.
Okay. I'm glad that you pointed out that his family has received you, because that was going to be my question. You know, what was the reception by the family?
Yeah.
Are there any challenges that you have faced because of what you're doing?
Not really. I mean, a few here and there, you know, whereas Malcolm is someone who's very revered in our community, as you know.
Right.
And I remember one time before, someone made a comment that you're making Malcolm more king-like. And I said, well, to try to pigeonhole Malcolm at one stage of his life, it's not fair. You're not telling the story of Malcolm.
Right.
Malcolm began to evolve in his life, and he didn't. Everything was not the white man, the devil, you know, the whole thing. And I'm not sitting here trying to sugarcoat anything.
Right.
But I think I tell his story quite well in the way he evolved from where he was to where we didn't get a chance to see the true essence of him before he was murdered.
Right.
You know, so I always tell people, if you don't like what I'm doing, create your own, is what I think he would say.
Right.
Create
Okay,
your
I
own
like
image.
that. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah. And the work that Malcolm X, of course, had done is so critical as we look up today and we see how necessary it is even
without
today.
question.
We actually have a caller that has called in. We're going to bring her on here through the use of this modern technology. I don't know whose mic is singing, but we're going to bring this young lady on. Hello, ma'am.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Can you tell us your name, where you're calling from?
I'm Reba Burrisborn.
Hi.
Hey, Reba.
Hi, sir. How are you?
I'm doing just fine.
I'm calling from sunny downtown Suitland.
Okay. Yeah, I'm familiar. I vacation there sometimes.
I hear you.
So tell us, you have a question or a comment for Brother Malcolm?
Well, Brother Malcolm is doing a great job. I'm very proud to work with him.
And Reba's my publicist.
Saturday. And I hope that you always be able to come and bring a lot of folks to join us on Saturday. The Q&A part of the program is always exciting.
Great.
And the children asked Darrick all kinds of questions during his question and answer period. So please keep on talking.
Great. Now, you probably have contact information, and that's a good time to probably give out all of that. The website, the...
Have a blessed day now. Goodbye.
Oh, are you there with us? I just wanted to ask...
I'm right here. Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. Okay, so we wanted to ask about contact information. Where to get the tickets, where to get where to get more information, how to get in contact with you, how to get in contact with, this play. So why don't you give us all of that, and Darrick, if there's anything else you want to add to that contact information, we can do that now. Go ahead.
All right. You can call Darrick on his line, and that number is 202. Oh, please hold on 1 second. I give my number first, 301-420-0000. And then for Darrick, your number, Darrick, please.
202-427-2414. As well, you can reach me at DARIC Johnson63@gmail.com.
And my email is rebabarnes@AOL.com.
Reba Barnes.
And I want to thank Ms. Chris Murray and Dr. Baruch as well for a wonderful program today. And Darrick, keep on rocking on.
All right.
Wonderful interview.
Great.
Thank you, Reba.
Thank you.
Hello.
All right. Great. Yeah, that's your publicist, huh?
Yes,
Got to
sir.
have a good publicist.
Oh, yeah.
That makes all the difference in the
Oh,
world.
yeah. It's a big difference.
Yeah. Either you'll be known or unknown.
Yeah, you can put me
it'll
out
be the
there.
best kept secret.
Yeah.
So in the one man play. Now this is not a new version. This is what you have been doing for a minute,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Great. And what kind of messages, can we expect to get out of this as an audience? People are in search of, okay, what's going on? What's going to be happening?
Right.
Tell us what we're going to get.
Well, one of the messages I try to run across, I mean, if you know the story of Malcolm, you know the issues he had with him and the Nation of Islam at one time. And I try to send a message with that part of the play to saying that, hey, there's a need for us to begin to come together and learn how to better balance our emotions so that we are able to agree to disagree without being negatively or violently disagreeable. And that's one of the messages that I definitely want to get across, is how we need to show more appreciation for one another, because people like Malcolm and so many others before him whose shoulders we stand upon, some of the things that we see going on in our communities will make them tell them they're great, because they did not fight for some of the fights that we're having currently, right here in the 21st century.
Right.
And so I especially try to get that to resonate to young people, because I think I've heard this before from young people. So what's the significance of Malcolm now here today? I said there's a lot of significance in Malcolm. You just take the time to read, to learn. Not only Malcolm, but so many of our historical figures whose shoulders we stand upon, as I mentioned.
Right.
And you taking on that persona and that spirit and that energy, what do you think Malcolm would think about where we are today?
I think he would be a lot of ways troubled by it, because I think towards the end of his life, those was one of the things he was really trying to do. When the whole thing came down against him, he was trying to really help us to see, because his message was really for us to really love and appreciate each other. It really was. And it was not anti-white people or anti-anybody, because, people point towards his trip to Mecca. But see, Malcolm was a world traveler. He had traveled all around the country, and he had visited several countries and saw the negative effects of colonialism. And he began to internationalize our struggle and help us to see that we were not the minority, but people of color is the majority. And he was trying to help us to see that and connect brothers and sisters from the continent to brothers and sisters here in America, and make us see how we need to do more to love each other and push those vestiges of oppression and exploitations out of the way, so that the world can be better.
That's what's up.
So I mean, and so Malcolm was a man about love, and his love was for his people. But Malcolm also was a love of humanity.
Right.
And people will try not to dismiss that because of all the propaganda they've been fed in the media and everything else. But that's one of the things that I really try to resonate with that character.
That's what's up. And that's happening this Saturday at Everlasting Life. Again,
Yes,
9185 Central Avenue. Malcolm X, an American
Legend.
legend.
And that's what he is.
An American legend. Performed by Brother Darrick Johnson here in the time?
7 to 10.
7 until 10. And tickets are available?
You can reach me at 202-427-2414 or at DARIC Johnson 63 at gmail.com. But there will also be tickets at the door. Tickets.
The price.
Tickets are going to be available at the door, so they can get more information from you with regard to that.
From me. Now let me mention one more thing about the title. I had made mention when I did the tour down in South Carolina. And so they have a theme every year. And so they wanted to make, the theme originally was Outrageous Americans. And I said, I don't like that.
Right.
Outrageous Americans. And they changed it because I raised some noise about that.
Right.
I said, I don't like it. Malcolm was not an outrageous American.
Right.
And so they changed it from Outrageous American to American Legend. And that's why I decided to title the one-man play Malcolm X, an American Legend. Yeah.
That's good stuff.
Oh,
Good stuff. Well, we greatly appreciate you coming on board with us, and we look forward to a really powerful performance, one that's going to take us down memory lane, but also allow us to look forward into our own lives to see what it is that we need to do that we're not doing. And if Malcolm was our teacher and we are in the classroom, what he would be instructing us to do so that we can begin to continue. And I say begin to continue because so much of what he put in place is not, we don't see that continuum across the board, so we need to begin now to continue some of that, social corrective effort that Malcolm was so widely known for by us. By others, he was seen as a radical black, somebody who sponsored hate and encouraged hate. But if it's like It's like looking at the basketball game last night. Somebody had to win, somebody had to lose. Now, because one side is screaming and hollering for their team to win, does not necessarily translate that they hate the other team, exactly. Even though it's really strong words that are used. They just really love their team. So, we're going to learn about that this coming Saturday, 7 o'clock. At Everlasting Life, 9185 Central Avenue in Capitol Heights, Maryland. Brother Darrick, thank you very much for coming on board with us.
Yes, it's a pleasure.
Yes, indeed.
It's a pleasure.
Chris, we've got some other stuff going on, don't we?
Yeah, but before we do that, I know, Brother Darrick, that you have also the Gathering of Men. I know you mentioned it a little bit, but could you go into more detail about what that is?
We are a spirit-based men's group. We meet every first and last Tuesday of the month. The next gathering will be the 23rd, and on this gathering, I'm going to open up to women as well, because every once in a while, we need, as men and women, we need to sit down together and discuss some of the things that are on our minds. And,
that's right.
And as I mentioned, we definitely deal with the spirit, because when we look at all the things that are happening outside of us, all the craziness, we have to go within to really find that sense of peace and serenity to help us to refocus on whatever it is that we need to do, And so I think, and it starts with the men, So I'm grateful to kind of grab the torch of the Gathering Men, because it was something that helped me out a long time ago. When I went through a divorce, I learned about the Gathering Men from a man who used to be married to Yana Van Sant, and he started this group. And in 2015, a young lady who I helped raise, she was murdered. And I've always been active in the community, and I felt this was time to restart the Gathering of Men, to really get men involved in the community and understanding how we can make a difference, and how when we began to step into the place which God ordained us to do as leaders, we can begin to empower our families, our communities, and ultimately the world.
Right.
And that's my goal. And I use my creativity to try to inspire what I'm doing with the group. And my activism is all about, like I said earlier, creatively trying to make a difference.
Right.
And that's what it's all about, really, and really touching the men and understanding the power that lies in the hands of us as men.
Right. Absolutely.
And that's what it's about. So the next one is the 23rd of May.
Okay.
At Greater Beulah Baptist Church.
Right here in Capitol Heights.
Yes, in Capitol Heights.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for sharing that and your story about Malcolm. Okay. And like Dr. Brooks said, we do have some more exciting events coming up. On a Friday, we have movie night that's coming up. That's 7 to 9 p.m. right here at Everlasting Life. What is the movie? Do we know?
We do know the movie, and we're going to have a guest who's going to come on and tell us and remind us what the movie is. As a matter of fact, let's jump in. Al Kumar, what's the name of the movie?
The movie this Friday is Sisters in the Struggle, a tribute to Black women liberators, ancient and modern.
Where did Al Kumar come from? Well, she is actually on because she's going to talk to us about something else that's really exciting going on here at Everlasting Life, and that is the solstice that is coming up in just a couple of weeks. First off, this is Al Kumar Malik, and tell us about yourself, Al Kumar, so you cover all the information that you want our audience to hear. Who are you? What do you do?
Well, a little about me. I am Al Kumar. I do a myriad of different things, but as it pertains to this conversation, I am one of the events coordinators right there at Everlasting Life. And so I put on some of the different events that go on around the restaurant on a weekly and monthly basis. So as you just mentioned, the movie night, I do host that every Friday from 7 to 9 p.m. and we air a different movie/documentary each and every Friday. So you definitely want to stay tuned on the Facebook page, the Everlasting Life Facebook page, for the updates on that. And as you mentioned, the Solstice Shopping Bazaar, which takes place the first Saturday of each and every month, right there at Everlasting Life, all day shopping from 12 to 6 p.m. This upcoming solstice, we have a special rendition where we will be co-hosting with We Can Survive. It is a grassroots organization that's centered around cancer survivors. And I really love what they do out there because they're really on the ground, making a lot of friends and doing a lot of positive things in and around the area as it pertains to cancer. And what they're doing now is they are going to be doing a fill-a-truck this first Saturday for their upcoming missionary trip to Honduras in August. So they'll have a big, gigantic truck out front of the restaurant, and you can come out and you can bring donations, whatever you'd like for the Honduras people to have, and they will take your donations with them to Honduras. So they're joining up with us at our Solstice Bazaar, and they'll be on site. That's We Can Survive, and you get a lot more information on their website, the same name. And again, that's the Solstice Shopping Bazaar, first Saturday, June 3rd, from 12 to 6 p.m.
Great. Well, thank you very much, Al Kumar. Did it a lot better than I would have done. Again, letting us know what's going on here at Everlasting Life. The Solstice Bazaar is really exciting. You know, we had Professor Griff this past month, and as a good look. So we will be. What else is going on, Chris? Anything? We got a sponsor, don't we? I don't know that I have the information for the sponsor, but you can start talking about it.
Sure, Glamour Dominican Salon. If you're looking to get your natural hair or your relaxed hair straightened, that is the place to go. Once again, that's Glamour Dominican Salon. That's located at 8000 Martin Luther King Jr. Highway in Glen Arden, Maryland. They do have a special on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. $15 off any wash and set or blowout. So that's a great day to go out. Tomorrow and the next day, I don't know what day it is today, but I know the next 2 days is going to be 90 degrees. So it may be a good chance for you to come in, check them out today, so that way you can have your hair beautiful and flowy in the wind. And again, that's 8000 Martin Luther King Jr. Highway in Glen Arden, Maryland. So not too far from where we are right now.
And that sound would indicate the end of our show. It wasn't supposed to come up like that.
I was talking too long. That was my cue.
that was your cue. You went a little long this time. But again, Chris, thank you very much. We will see you at our next show, whenever that is.
Tomorrow we do have a guest. Dr. Arnita Fowler will be joining us. We're very excited about that. So tune in tomorrow at 11 a.m. right here on elifemedia.net.
Make sure that you know it. Got that pride, go ahead and show it. Stand up, fight back, no time for hoping. Recognize we got that.